Every year, as slow season approaches, I get some version of the same question from clients. Should we just pause our Google Ads until things pick up? It's a totally reasonable thing to ask. If fewer people are buying, why keep spending money on ads? But pausing is almost never the right call. And making that decision at the wrong time can actually cost you more than the budget you were trying to save. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I actually think about this, what happens when you pause, what to do instead, and the situations where pausing does make sense. First, let's talk about what actually happens when you pause a campaign. Google Ads isn't a light switch. When you pause and then turn things back on, there's a ramp-up period before performance returns to where it was. This is because Google's algorithm is constantly learning what times of day your audience converts, which keywords perform, what bids make sense. That learning is built on data. When you pause, that data stops accumulating. When you turn it back on, the system has to relearn. And while it's doing that, you'll often see higher CPCs and weaker performance. So what's the alternative? Our default recommendation is often to reduce, not pause. Yes, reducing still means that you're putting money into ads during your slower months, but here's what you're getting for that spend. A reduced budget keeps you in the auction. It keeps the algorithm learning. It keeps your brand visible to the people who are still searching. And in most seasonal categories, some people are always searching, just fewer of them. There's a big difference between spending less and spending nothing. One more note on this. If you are going to reduce, do it gradually. Drastic budget swings from one month to the next can actually destabilize performance. A good rule of thumb is no more than a 20% change month to month if you can help it. Ramp down slowly into the slow season and ramp back up the same way coming out of it. I'm sure some of you are thinking, but Sammy, won't the algorithm learn the wrong things if performance is worse during our slow season? And it's a fair question, but the algorithm isn't learning in a vacuum. It's learning about your market, and your market is genuinely slower sometimes. A lower conversion volume in January isn't bad data, it's accurate data. The bigger risk is pulling out entirely. A paused campaign gives the algorithm nothing to work with. When you come back in peak season, it's starting from scratch in a now competitive space. Where you do need to pay attention is your bidding targets. If you're running target CPA or target ROAS, make sure your goals reflect slow season reality, not peak month numbers. Asking the algorithm to hit peak season targets with a fraction of the usual volume is where things can go sideways. And if you're running maximized conversions, slow season is a good time to add a target CPA as a guardrail. Without one, the algorithm will spend whatever it takes to find conversions, and that gets expensive fast when volume is low. A quick note if you're running Performance Max campaigns. PMax runs entirely on signals. There are no keywords, just audience data, creative performance, and conversion history. That makes it even more sensitive to pausing than search campaigns. If there's one campaign type where going dark has a real cost, it's PMax. Keep it running and reduce it gradually if you do need to pull. Let's talk about your competitors, because they're asking the same question you are. In a lot of seasonal industries, it's common to see companies pull back at the same time. When that happens, there's less competition in the auction, which usually means lower CPCs and more visibility for the same spend. The buyer who's dreaming about a boat in February and buying in May is a real person. And if you're the only one talking to them, that can be a meaningful edge. If your business has a longer sales cycle, a lot of that research could be happening during your slow season. If you're not there for it, somebody else is. And if your slow season looks dead in your account, it's worth looking beyond end of funnel conversions. Higher funnel signals like product page views or return visits can tell a different story. But don't just assume your competitors are pulling back. Check your auction insights data. This column is impression share. It tells you what percentage of the available auction each advertiser is capturing. If you see a competitor's impression share dropping over time, they're pulling back. If it's holding steady or growing, they're staying in. And use the date range selector to compare slow season versus peak season. You can see exactly who stays in and who disappears, and use that to inform your own decision. Whether competitors are pulling back or staying in, you want to be in the auction either way. Don't hand your customers over to them while you wait for things to pick back up. Now, let's talk about what to actually do during slow season, because I think slow season gets a bad rap. With the right approach, it could actually be one of the more productive times to be running ads. 1. Reduce, don't eliminate. Pull back to a level that keeps things active without overspending. 2. Shift your focus. Not everything slows down at the same time. If there are other parts of your business that stay active, a service department, a complementary product line, slow season is a good time to put some more budget there. 3. Use the quiet period to test. Peak season is often the wrong time to experiment. Slow season is your window to try new ad copy, landing page variations, or campaign structures without the pressure of your most important months. And number 4, revisit your bidding targets. We covered this earlier, but it's worth repeating. The algorithm will make poor decisions if you're asking it to hit peak season targets with slow season volume. So what about pausing individual ad groups instead of the whole campaign? This is actually a strategy I use with some of my clients. If you have seasonal products within a broader campaign, pausing specific ad groups during their off-season is a reasonable way to keep budget focused on what's relevant right now. The catch is reactivation. Paused ad groups go through a similar warm-up period as paused campaigns. If you know a product peaks in May, don't turn that ad group back on in May. I typically aim to reactivate seasonal ad groups 2 to 4 weeks before peak season, though lower volume accounts may need more runway. The less conversion data your account generates, the longer the algorithm needs to find its footing. Whether you leave ad groups running or pause them really comes down to budget. If budget isn't a constraint, leaving them running year-round keeps the algorithm learning and avoids the warm-up period entirely. If your campaigns are limited by budget and off-season conversion rates drop significantly, pausing those ad groups redirects even modest spend towards what's actually performing. So, when does pausing actually make sense? 1. Your budget is very small. If spreading your spend across 12 months means you're never really competitive at any point, concentrating on peak months is smarter than running ineffectively year-round. 2. There's genuinely no demand. In some categories, search volume in the off-season drops to near zero. Check Google Trends and your historical impression data before assuming this is you, but if it is, pausing is reasonable. And 3, the business is closed or budget needs urgent reallocation. If you're physically shut down or the money genuinely needs to go somewhere else, pause with a plan. Know when you're coming back and build the ramp-up time into your expectations. So, should you pause? For most businesses, no. Reduce instead. Do it gradually, keep an eye on your competitors, and make this decision before slow season hits, not when you're already in it. Every business is a little different though. If you want to talk through what the right call looks like for your specific account, get in touch with us. And if you found this helpful, the full written version is on the Kickpoint blog. You'll find the link below. See you next time.